Hello everyone, and welcome to another One Piece manga chapter read along. Today I will be reading 1186, and just a fun side story. Today, what was the episode number that aired? It was the one about the Harley, right? It's episode 1168 of the anime aired today. It is called Ancient History, The Harley Passed Down by Elbaf. And the fun fact is, the first day that I caught up on One Piece manga was the chapter corresponding to that episode. So it was quite momentous for me today to watch, the first episode that is based on the chapter where, for the first time a year ago, I was caught up to the most recent chapter of One Piece. Can you believe it's already been a freaking year since I was caught up to the most recent chapter of One Piece? I'm so glad that today we have another chapter coming out. And for some reason, well, I have a feeling that maybe Oda's the kind of person like, okay, that episode came out today based on that chapter. And Oda's the kind of guy who would plan things that maybe today's chapter would link to that episode somehow, or I don't know. I'm just wondering. I have high expectations because not only was it a big moment for me when that chapter came out, because it was the first one where I was fully caught up with One Piece, and so it wasn't just big for me, but it was big for the community because we had this mural, you know? And can you believe it's been a year since Soto stopped to read them? The damn timing. But okay, so suffice to say, I am quite excited. Shout out to the live chat. Booty, Hachi, Yuga Makoto, Modru is here, Nox, Rohit, Odinoko, Dark Shadow, Next Age. Welcome everyone. Just give me one more minute to fix whatever is going on here. Nox was just like, oh, your hair has so much volume today. And now I'm like, where, wait, there. Okay, we're ready. Boop. I'm also, someone kept coming to the chat and being like, when are you reading One Piece? Since 2 days ago or something. And it has been a while since people were that overexcited. But anyway, as you know, I don't read the leaks. This chapter came out officially on Shonen Jump today at 5 p.m. South African Standard Time. So that's where I will be reading it. The chapter is called One More Time. Sorry. 2 times. Sorry. Oh, look at Loki. Oh my gosh. He's drawing her. And it's like the same fringe. That is so cute. Loki secretly drawing a picture of Ida, and Ida secretly enjoying it. And a little snake next to him. Oh, the little snake, the dog, the lion. You know how much that hurts me, because in today's episode, he said, you know, Gunko and the Shamrock killed his Dachi right in front of him, and they were lying there with freaking arrows stabbed through their chest. These were animals that were his friends since he was a child. It's that much more traumatizing. But it's so precious. And just a side note, I'm currently playing Pokemon Crystal, and I caught a Lickitung yesterday, and his name is Lokitung. You know, leaky tongue, Loki tongue, because someone said, you know, Loki has pink hair and he always has his tongue out of his mouth. So, anyway, here we go. Usually I start at the end of the last chapter. I just remember where the frick it ended. It ended with Gunko and the Black Wings. Princess Shuri standing over her father's dead body, Black Wings, demon horns, that mysterious figure in the background smoking, and the big bird. And she said, "The war is going to be over, Brooke. Aren't you happy?" I forgot. That's where we ended. Okay, so the first page. Never give up. Our only path to survival is independence. And while this fight for independence is still going on outside, Brooke is visibly confused. Like there's almost this mesmerizing effect, like he's disoriented, like he's, you know? And he says, huh? He has not come to terms with what he sees in front of him. And we see the smoking figure. We see Princess Shuri staring at him and the bird. What was that bird called again? Like the type of bird that he is? I think Tiago mentioned it last week. Someone! Call the medic! His Majesty is in critical condition! Aniki! Hang in there, Aniki! You're going to be okay! Oh my god. And he completely loses, like, not composure, but he is only focused on what he sees right here in front of him, which is the person that saved him. Already dead on the floor, most likely. And the other people around just fade away. And he's just shouting, Aniki, Aniki. And tears start welling up in his eyes as he remembers everything that they went through together. Are you a fan of mine, old man? Hey, I'm not that old. I guess I'll call you Aniki instead. Aniki! Aniki! Hey, didn't anyone hear me call for a damn medic? This was an inconvenient time for an interruption, and the door slammed shut. Brooke, that man is already dead. Though the inconvenient time for an interruption, I guess that's the bird speaking. And Shuri says that man is already dead. And he looks at her visibly confused. You there, who are you? What have you done to Princess Shuri? I have been watching over this girl since she was a newborn child, a newborn baby. I know she's not capable of this kind of bloodshed. I know everything about the princess. But Brooke, did you know that I was a celestial dragon? Here it comes. Here it comes. Did you know that this man was not my real... Here it comes. He was not my real father. Stop calling him this man. What are you talking about? You are King Reuven's legitimate daughter and heir, of course. Where's the proof? Proof? You don't need proof between parents and their children. Yes, you do. It would have made a huge difference in my life. I've now wasted 16 years I could have spent as a celestial dragon. Do you understand how angry I am? They demanded 1,000 slaves. Wrong. That was because this wretch refused to hand me over. Don't call him that. He's a terrible king who let his people die for nothing. That's why he had to pay the price. If the king dies, the war is over. But if we lose, then this country becomes a lawless wasteland. That doesn't matter to me anymore. Oh, he's her father? Man Mayor Guro. Gunko Guro. I remember you. Candel's squire. The boy with the poofy hair. Not that you were ever allowed to get close to me. And they show his eyes, which are the same as Gunko's. Not very common eyes. Not that that's proof in and of itself, but I mean, your eyes. Normally, I wouldn't come to a backwater like this, just to recover a single measly whelp. But her bipolar irises are an extremely rare trait, and the Great One desires her. While it may not have awakened for me, perhaps she can. Thou speakest too much, Guro. Oh, my apologies, Great One. Make it quick, Shuri. Huh? This can't be real. I must be dreaming. I changed your diapers. I know everything about you. Don't act like I owe you anything. And stop being that pathetic, sniveling dot dot dot. I want the protection of people stronger than you. And if I get to go to the Holy Land, I no longer have any need of you. This coming from the girl who is practically in love with him. Not in a, oh, thank you, Rohit, for the sub. Sorry, I didn't see. Not that I ever took that literally, like I told you guys. I mean, when you're a kid, your strongest relationships are with the people around you, you know? You build a trust and I don't know, there's, like, I've told stories about when we were 13 and we were in love with the substitute teacher, the new or the student teacher, and he was in his 20s, but it's not like it's just kids, you know? But this is more than that because this was someone really close to her. And I'm not saying in love as in romantically, but when kids are kids, they don't really there's no romantically for them yet, you know? They just deeply love someone, and that's oftentimes why I believe people say, you know, you gravitate towards a partner that is similar to your parents, one of your parents. Um because that's your idea of love. That's what you know. That's who was closest to you. So how can things change? I can't imagine how confused he must be. So she says, I want the protection of people stronger than you. And if I get to go to the Holy Land, then I no longer have any need of you. But that's never what it was about for her. But also the fact that her one sentence, she can't even, she says, stop that oh no, that pathetic sniveling. Oh, it's not really that her sentence was interrupted. She just trails off. Stop that pathetic sniveling. Okay, you were always the perfect little angel. But now you look more like a devil. Gavot. I failed to protect my Aniki, the man who saved my life. Bond en avant. Oh, cows and frogs and slaves and kings, we are all bones when we die. We're all bones in the end. That's all there is to say. And they walk away after she stabbed him in the head? This is not where he dies. His hair was like the The giant chief. His helmet. Captain! Captain Brooke! He's awake. It's a miracle. I've never seen anyone survive with a sword stuck through his head. The sword somehow managed to avoid all the major arteries and your brainstem. So where's the king? I don't know how much you remember, Captain. Look, we shouldn't tell him too much. It might rattle him. No, tell me the truth. We lost, Captain. The king's death sealed it. Someone witnessed Princess Shuri being put onto a government ship. Many civilians have already fled the country. But what country will take in all those refugees? And then he screams. A scream that can be heard all over the island. An island of music. And like singing instruments. Captain, he's bleeding again. Hold still. Captain, Captain. Back then, I didn't even know about the existence of devil fruits. I always thought that I had hallucinated what happened. Such was the shock I suffered at seeing my savior dead on the ground, and the terror I felt at the changed princess, her new demonic visage. If those were not illusions but real memories. My friend, do you think it would be all right if I had faith in Princess Shuri just one more time? If she happens to be a victim in all of this, I want to save Princess Shuri. So as he is saying this, as the memories are coming back, has he always had like a scar on his skull? In which chapter is Brooke introduced? Please tell me if you can. That was from Thriller Bark? What do you mean? Like he got the scar in Thriller Bark? Okay, we'll take a look at chapter 442 in a minute. Let me just finish up. So he remembers what happened, but he didn't even know about devil fruits at the time. He didn't even know, he didn't know about all the horrors in the world. People that can control others, people that can turn into others. What does it mean for her to have these eyes? What are celestial dragons even really? And obviously had no clue about Emu and what that can do. So now, because of Princess Shuri and who he knew her to be, and that moment when she said, "Run, Brooke," he wants, if she happens to be a victim, I want to save Princess Shuri. May I ask for your help in achieving this goal? Do you really need to ask? Let's hurry up and break that block of ice. Maybe lightning will work. I'll use my radical beam and melt it in one go. I don't think I should use explosives. What can I do to help? Hey, wait up, Brooke. And he runs away screaming. Oh, that is such a Brooke thing to do. And then back at the cafeteria in the Walrus School. Yeah! I'm all full. Kuta kuta. That bad news guy is Elbaf's enemy, right? then that means he's my enemy. I'm overflowing with strength, right? Right now, I can't see anyone beating me. Luffy, don't say that. That's what they call putting up a death flag or a red flag or some kind of flag. Thank you, Da Pitchy. 8 months. High five. So Luffy says he's ready to go. I can't see anyone beating me. And then we have Loki. Quit going after the kids. You world government folks sure do fight dirty. Dost thou not know why? Shall I teach thee? 800 years ago, thy kind suffered defeat in order to save thy children. Huh? I thought Moo was about to be like, yeah, well, one time 900 years ago, your great 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 grandfather slapped my little sister or something. He was like gearing up as if there was a good reason for this. And when I say a good reason, I mean a good reason, you know, their reasons. Dost thou not know why? Shall I teach thee? 800 years ago, thy kind suffered defeat in order to save thy children. What do you mean, 800 years ago? The nature of a race does not change in mere centuries. Simply abduct thy children, and I can control thee at will. Thou might not know what is happening to thee, but history repeats regardless. Yeah, history repeats if people forget and fall into the same habitual patterns. It is already too late. Thou art my slaves. What is he talking about? You get out of Elbaf right now. Oof. Luffy literally zoomed from the cafeteria. They're in an in-depth conversation about history and slavery, and Luffy is just like, get the always so satisfying. Yeah, it looks similar to when he punched the celestial dragon, but this is the celestial dragon of celestial dragons. Damn. But they did bring up something from 800 years ago. Control the children and you control the... And I control thee at will. Control the children and you control, you know, the people. History repeats regardless. That's only if you forget. But it's so difficult. Like, you shouldn't forget history, but you also shouldn't live emotionally attached to it. Because then you would be controlled by fear constantly, right? You need to learn from it. You need to remember it, honor it, respect it, understand it, but don't be controlled by it either. You know? It's a difficult balance to keep. But isn't that what life is about? Constant moments of, you know, centering yourself and making sure that you keep the balance. Luffy building up a track record for most celestial dragons punched. Oh, it's too short. Too short. How is it already over? Okay, let's see what the Discord has to say after these rolls. Wait, no, I already rolled. We're good. Okay, One Piece manga. Okay, wait. This is the official volume 115 cover. Where was this posted? Rohit said, Emu sometimes can be such a moody, BC can be such a moody because what do you mean someone interrupted your devilish actions and you decide to lift the room by slamming the door? Oh, I thought it was the bird, but I guess, yeah, that's the text for Emu speaking. Wait, wait, I didn't see this part. I didn't see this part. I didn't see that. That was Emu? He was there? What the hell? 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 How did I miss that? Emu sticking out of the bird. This was an inconvenient time for an interruption. Slams the door. Yeah, but I mean, this is not the first time that Emu acts like a freaking child. A child with way too much power. Damn. I will take a look at the Brooke debut. Just remind me at the when I go through this, so that I first focus on the content of the chapter and then I do want to come back to Brooke's introduction. I wasn't even serious about that reach I was making last week, but I wasn't exactly far off. What was your reach? You should connect to your previous post and then it'll be easier to compare. So basically, King lied to his people by saying they demanded 1,000 slaves, but they actually wanted Shuri because of her eyes. But there are still some questions unanswered about the sudden appearance of a fog. Well, the thing is, so this is what happened in my mind. Celestial dragons came to impose their will and check out their property. I don't really understand how long they've been paying the tribute, but anyway, celestial dragons popped by, probably raped a few women. Candel got pregnant, and he married her, and all that happened in order to maybe protect her honor and all. I don't exactly understand, but I mean, more or less, you can put the pieces together, right? And like he said, normally he wouldn't even bat an eyelid at a whelp like from some backwater. Like he just slept with a woman, and I don't know if his plan was ever to go back or anyone was going to go back and get her, but she was just another random kid, you know? But then because of she inherited these eyes, so it was valuable to Emu because apparent that eye can awaken a specific power in you, most probably. So it's like the eye is probably indicative of a specific race or trait or something, but having the eyes don't mean you necessarily inherit the power that comes, you know? Yes, exactly like Garling. Exactly. Um but he didn't care about her until they found out about her eyes. Then he had adopted this child. It was his daughter. So it's not like giving back a child that he took from someone. It's like you raped her. We picked up the pieces and tried to keep living, and now you want to just take her? You just want to take the. And he said no, and that probably that might have been where the plot began to for the fall of the country. I don't know. So Rohit says there are still some questions unanswered about the sudden appearance of a fog and suddenly the demand by the world government. The timing is very odd. Another strange thing is why Shuri's dad arrived suddenly in Esperia. What was he doing there? Because I assumed it was normal celestial dragon, but it was actually a holy knight. Usually, if a holy knight is in travel, they're on a mission. Well, the mission is to get someone that Emu wants really, really badly. people were wilding, saying he was a Vinsmoke, or he was Shiryu's dad, or even Kong. But it was simply a holy knight and Shiryu's real dad. Like I said before, it makes sense because not everybody can assist and watch Imu. Only Gorosei and holy knights know about him. Tiago's reach last time was about Oda dropping a reason that would make them go after Shuri. I mean, obviously, would they go out of her? Would they go after her randomly? There obviously had to be a reason. Like, that's like saying, "Ooh, I predicted that there would be a reason that Usopp joins the crew." Like, yeah, things happen because of other things. That's cause and effect. I'm very curious about the eyes thing, says Rohit. If Shuri has some power in her eyes, that would imply that there are other types of eyes that grant power, like Mihawk, Loki, Pudding. And Pudding was kidnapped by Blackbeard, maybe for the eyes. I mean, definitely, because of her being special in some way. And what is special about Pudding? Her eyes. Here, another family member from the Man the Mayors. That explains why we didn't see her eyes in God Valley. Her eyes are probably the same as Shuri and Guro. Oh. When was this? God Valley. God Valley? With I'm imagining two moments. The flashback. Why does that look like oh, the Kuma one? I was thinking of two moments and neither of those moments was that moment. Oh, Rock's death. But why is this in color? That hasn't been animated yet. That's why I'm confused. I see. Kuma's past was animated, but Rock's death is still yet to be revealed. Okay. Further later. Man, I needed timeline, but now I have two timelines, the anime timeline and the manga timeline, and my mind has to keep track of both. Like what has been revealed where. God Valley. So God Valley wasn't only Kuma's backstory, but it was Rox's backstory. But she was revealed as part of the Celestial Dragons, Holy Knights. She was okay. Blue hair, hidden eyes. Yeah. Was she also a man mayor? Was it revealed as like a little box of text? Hachi, what is your LMAO? Because I didn't remember. There was freaking 100. You have Shabondi to. I was talking about Shabondi and the anime reaction. There's freaking the other war with Ace, and there's like a bunch of moments that have titles. It's like remembering someone's name. A specific event took place at a specific place. My brain can't process that fast. It's fucking 1,000 chapters. Mihawk and Pudding I get, but I thought Loki's eyes were black from a sort of eye disease. Hence the whole drama with his mom throwing him out. And they fear something that's different. They call it a disease, but maybe it's not that at all. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time in stories where someone is born with a specific marking or a specific power and then they're basically cursed or diseased. That's kind of literally, I think, what Rohit is saying. They might have another function in the story. I was excluding this possibility before this chapter, but now Oda may want to present another power system. I agree, like, Luffy's eyes are also pink or purple, like Lunarians. So, yeah, just because the story has given you one explanation doesn't mean that's the explanation. Meaning, the characters at that point in the story had a specific perception of Loki's eyes and they feared him as a result. But it's still the character's perception. That's not the truth objectively. It's kind of like how I always tell people, like in Dragon Ball. One character says, "Oh, yeah, you must be the strongest person in the universe." And then people are like, "See, the character said so, so it must be true." That's bullshit. That's the character's perspective. That's not a fact. It's a perspective still. So if eyes are becoming an indicator just because a specific character called it a disease shouldn't mean that's like factual. We can still think about how eyes might be linked to a new power system potentially, because it's true. We have Mihawk, we have a pudding. It has some relation, maybe, yeah. Joy Boy and Emu potentially being another Hashirama and Madara situation in One Piece. The fandoms will be at each other's throats for years if that's true. I will be preparing my popcorn in the meantime. The thing is, I think stories like Naruto and how it ended, it links up with, I want to say, myths and stuff. Like, even stories like The Matrix. It takes inspiration from, I'm talking about like ancient history, folklore, myths, all kinds of weird and interesting things. But some of them are more prevalent than others. And for me, for example, Naruto links up with concepts in the Matrix. So I don't know if One Piece ends in a certain kind of way, like in that kind of way. I wouldn't immediately jump to Naruto. I would jump even further back. Wanze is coming back. I'm calling it. Best eyes in One Piece. Brook's awakened fruit cause Emu's worst nightmare. Brings back the dead from the void century along with whatever truth Emu has been hiding. Whoa. Wouldn't that be amazing? I love making up bullshit on the spot. No, that's a freaking cool. I would love to see that. Maybe his ice power that comes from the underworld can destroy Ragnir's ice, liberating Shuri. Because Ragnir's ice, which is supernatural and magic, isn't the same as Akainu. Akainu? You mean the other guy? Kizaru. Akainu is the lava guy, right? You would think Emu would have endlessly searched for Brook's fruit in that case. No, but if no one had accessed that level of power with the fruit before, they wouldn't even know what it's worth. It's like people from 1,000 years ago pick up a diamond and go, "Oh, worthless rock." But now, from our perspective, knowing what it's worth or what you can do with it, whatever, if no one had unlocked that power, it doesn't mean, you know what I'm trying to say? See, Rohit typed Akainu, but he meant Kizaru. But me, I remembered Kizaru, but I just didn't remember God Valley's specific name. Don't worry, names are hard, I understand. By the way, my only complaint with the previous chapter has been solved. I think Oda handled pretty well, all things considered. It makes sense that he didn't know about devil fruits at the time, and it has been 50 to 60 years since then. They were from a very small town, you know? So if he had never come into contact Even Kizaru is wrong. Oh, Kitty! Really? Akainu. Kizaru. Aokiji. It's not really difficult to remember freaking Aokiji because Ao means blue. And Aka means red. Yes, I remember Aokiji. Oh, fucking balls. Check your One Piece short. Okay, thank you. I will do it in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. By the way, my only complaint with the previous chapter has been solved. Yes, please, TTT. Makes sense that he didn't know about devil fruit. Okay. Don't jinx it, Luffy. I know. I thought it too. This finally ends years-long discussion of Zoro being stronger than base Luffy. Also, the punch looks similar to when he punched Charlos back in Shabondi. And here's the official finished version of Volume 115. Wow! Beautiful. But the great one. This is hetero. Mu want this girl with homophobia. With heterophobia. What? Peach. Miche. I can't read that, but. Mu want this girl with homophobia. Ah. They are Sui-san, Entan, and Raikun in disguise. Oh my gosh. That was a wild chapter. That was sad, but I didn't linger too long on how Brooke must be feeling. Because it's heavy. For all of that stuff to be revealed, you know, about what happened to Kandel, his savior dying. Let's look at chapter 442 really quick. Brooke's introduction, thank you. Wow, that's long ago. Whew. How many years ago was that? Whoa, 442. Oh my goodness, I went past it. I still wanted to see how he joined his old crew. I mean, we might still see it, but that's literally the reason why One Piece is 1,000 chapters, because we all want to see everything. One Piece chapter 442 published date. In 2007. So that was 19 years 19 years ago. Okay, so Nami still had short hair. Okay. A huge storm is coming. We only have 5 minutes. I don't see it, but if she says so, it's coming. Nami, which course do we take? 2 o'clock, straight ahead. And they go, and the storm starts. And then... Sorry, I'm skipping through pretty fast. Whoa. Oh, wow. Look at that. Yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho ho. Imagine being by yourself for so long and entertaining yourself with, you know, a few sad songs and probably a few happy songs every now and then. Ghost shop! But everyone's freaking out except Robin. But she's still, like, visibly shaken. Who could be on this ship? Even Zoro is, like, Like his face is like, what? Something's there. I'm sorry, but he's introduced while drinking a cup of tea. And the crack is right there. I don't know. And the Luffy instantly. Never mind all that. Do you want to join my crew? I'd love to. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. This moment is that much better, you know, after having been through everything together, 600 more chapters after this moment. But here's the thing. So, number 1, I don't know if any reason was given. Modru seemed to say that he got the crack in what Thriller Bark. But Thriller Bark might be that same place. What is it called? Elferia, what you know, it might be his original country. That country fell into ruin. What if he lived? He sailed with his crew, but you know, when he found out about what that original country was being used for, or I mean, it's not whatever happened in between, I'm not really sure. But it's not that difficult to believe that he would, after everything has been said and done, everyone who he's loved is gone, you know, on the crew and stuff. Like, he left the country, it fell into ruins, everyone left. Civilians went away on ships. Like, it was a ghost town, probably. He left. He went on his adventure. He met Laboon. I don't remember, were we given information about what happened to the crew? When he fought his shadow stabbed him in the eye sock. During the flashback before he met the Straw Hats. Which chapter is that? But when he fought Ryuma. Okay, so that might be how he got it, but let's pretend for a second that we didn't know that. In my mind, I just want to talk about when it comes to details like this being brought back much later. I like it because it always reminds me of Bakuman and the advice that one character gave to another character in Bakuman. He said that, you know, if you're stuck on a specific place, like, go back to your old work, you know, read it, like, indulge yourself in it, and look at the details, remind yourself how you felt when you were writing that, and then you can always, like, bring it back, like, bring moments back. It's like a thread, like a golden thread that you kind of like weave through the story. Chapter 4, 5, 8. Okay, 4. It went back to the top. 4, 5, 8. This is Brooke's first flashback appearance. So he already had the scar when he was alive. Which episode was this? He has the scar before the fight. So he might have been stabbed in the same place or around the same place. But yeah, it looks like he's had the scar. So my point is, whenever he got the scar, the fact of the matter is, like, he had it when he was introduced, and he had it before he was even a skeleton. That doesn't necessarily mean, and this is just the Bakuman fan in me talking. But that doesn't necessarily mean Oda had all of this planned out to the T 19 years ago. But it does mean he is actively like, he's like a master craftsman weaving the story. Like, he doesn't just make shit up as he goes. He's always had, in my mind, the end in mind, but he's constantly like, it feels like this freaking like a conductor, like music. I don't know, like he's blending everything together. He's expertly weaving such a masterpiece. But I don't know. I think that it's a I'm exaggerating, but when it comes to the Bakuman story, I just think it's a sign of a very good writer when you can keep expanding your story around the beginning and the end that you had in mind. Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm gonna post the short now. I think that's a sign of a very good writer when they constantly reflect on and weave together things that they might have established and they didn't necessarily, but it's so inspired to me. Like, he's created such a intricate, beautiful, detailed story, and that and he's so good at like taking what he's established and like, you know, playing with it, but in a masterful way. Cunning linguist. Can you not? He has a scar. Maybe he's just really unlucky. You mean Brooke? Yeah. In some ways, you could call him pretty unlucky. So I don't know. I just think that to me that's a sign of very creative, masterful writing when you can constantly expand on your story and keep interweaving like a golden thread, even if even if I still wouldn't put it past the how to say this. Even if Oda did have this planned back then, I could still believe it, but we'll never know. But I think more likely it's that he reflects a lot and he is constantly like, weaving, intermixing. I meant unlucky to get stabbed in the same place both before and after dying. I mean, it's likely. They say lightning never strikes twice. Lightning never strikes. Lightning never strikes twice in the same place, but it has been known to happen. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble on for too long. This weekend, I feel like I'm just in a place of awe when it comes to One Piece, and I just keep rambling about how beautifully everything is woven together. Big ideas and beliefs, philosophies, as much as tiny and intricate details that he keeps bringing it back. He keeps integrating the story, making sure that what we are experiencing now, that never feels completely disjointed from everything that has been established before now. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that, the coherence, the sense of congruity. Is that a word? So yeah, before I ramble on for too long, it wasn't an easy chapter. I honestly couldn't linger too long on, the difficulties that Brook himself had to face, both in his past and again now, and the fact that Shuri most likely is a victim in all of this and has been for what, 80, 60, 70 years now? But that begs the question, raises the question, if she is saved in this arc at this time, what happens to her then? If she is liberated from Emu, will she die? She's really old. She gets her what is not immunity, immortality, partly from, like, it's an emu thing, right? So what happens to her if she's liberated? Will she die? I mean, of course, most of us would say death would be better. Like, I'd rather die than stay a victim of that thing. But I'm just curious. I think my prediction is that she might die in this fight, sacrificing herself for Brooke. Liberated by Brooke, but then dies sacrificing herself for him. So we'll have to wait and see. Ooh, I actually usually take a peek at Twitter, I mean X. Sorry, I like the crazy ass theories on there. I just saw a really cool. Hey, how's the Canada versus South Africa football match? Is it over yet? Very boring. 0-0. Sounds like most football to me. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting distracted by art and information. What do I wear? How do I? I don't know why, but this is art. Oh no, never mind. It's AI. Soccer, but I just met there. Damn it, guys, help. Let me just search. One Piece. What was the chapter number? 1186. Okay, wait. What? There's a. Sorry, I got distracted again. There's a tweet here that says Nami versus Khalifa par Bochi. Boichi. Sorry, Boichi. Is this real? I know he drew something to do with Ace. Sorry, anyway. I can't find the hashtag like I usually do. Okay, here, I found it. I found it. Sorry for all the delay and my distraction. Let's start here. She stabbed Brooke through the head, but it went through his afro and just scraped along his frontal lobe, which made him forget how to use hockey. this whole time and led to impaired memory loss. Oda cooks once again. With this latest chapter, Luffy has officially punched every rank of the Celestial Dragons. A Celestial Dragon, a Holy Knight, the Gorosei, and the King of the World. Starting with this one, Charlos. And then this was, I think, the third one. This happened first. And now, get off of Elbaf. Oh, Frankie crying over everyone's backstories. Oh. Leuven the liar. Now we have confirmation that Leuven covered up the truth about Chudi's birth, and he lied about the world government demanding 1,000 slaves as compensation in order to protect Chudi from being claimed, ultimately leading to the demise of Esperia. Something's not connecting there, though. I feel like there's more to that. This presents somewhat of an interesting parallel or contrast to the story of Noland, who was also called Noland the Liar, accused of lying to the people of his kingdom about the existence of Shandora. The major difference being that Noland was actually telling the truth. Possibly, this could be the older version of Gro. What is Gro? Who is Gro? In chapter 675, titled I Call It Land of the Dead, during Punk Hazard, this was during Caesar's broadcast of his chemical weapon. We then see many brokers that are observing the broadcast, and one of them is an older guy smoking a cigarette and having aviator hat with goggles and a trident. It's possible it could be older Gro. Nah. Yeah, I forgot Gro. Who's Gro? What do you mean that I forget this? I forget everything. You don't need to ask, do you forget? Yes, I forgot. Always. Oh, Guro. Oh, it's Gro and Guro. It's like Gunko. Oh. But I was like, who's Gro? Who's Gro? Who's Gro? Who's Gro? Like, who is this guy? Guro. Gro. I've seen a lot of people complaining about Luffy being able to land a hit on Emu without using Gear 5. I'm really not sure why people are upset. Oda has been telling us since chapter 906 that Emu's power is decaying. The Gorosei practically begged him not to descend to the lower world, and when he did, he instantly coughed up blood. Yeah, that's true. Today, I watched Kill Bill, Kirubiru, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my first time seeing Uma Thurman. Turns out, no. She was in Pulp Fiction, which I watched, but it was a while ago, so. Then I posted my video reaction, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was so amazing seeing Uma Thurman. I've never seen her in a movie. After I had just confirmed, it's not age, it's my brain going blah, 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 blah. If I take a step back and I really think, but sometimes the small things like Gro versus Guro, Gunko, and I just met this freaking character and found out who he is 5 minutes ago. And the picture was of this guy. He looks nothing like him. Okay, but to be fair, a lot of characters that Oda initially drew as a silhouette or something didn't necessarily look like they look later, you know? So, I've seen a lot of Loki deserves this love. Ida will always be his real mother. This is the first time we see Blob Emu after the reveal. Why is Oda still drawing Emu as a silhouette? Because it's more mysterious that way. Who cares? The effect Oda used on Brook this chapter low-key reminded me of the bizarre effect that Toriyama would use in Dragon Ball. Oh, like this? It's kind of like to set the mood for the scene. It's very disorientating. In chapter 1186, Jinbei tells Brook not to worry and to go break the ice where Gunko is trapped. But as we know, only Ratatoskr can melt the ice. Brook will likely use his technique in the next chapter, leaving his body in his soul form to pass through the ice and reach Gunko. So he can find out what really happened to her, because he's too dumb to think rationally and give himself an answer. What do you mean he's too dumb? What do you mean he's too dumb to give himself an answer? Too stupid, bro. His skull got pierced, and you still haven't figured out that's why he's having trouble processing. Plus, it's a traumatic shock to see his adoptive father killed by his daughter. No, bro. Just a plot armor to justify Brook dumbness. In any case, dude, Oda refuted the bad faith of the awful One Piece haters in one chapter, whether we like it or not. And let's remember, nobody knew about devil fruits or the world government 80 years ago. I misspoke. I meant the high-ranking officials of the world government, like the Gorosei, the Celestial Dragons. Yeah. Why the fuck do people need others to explain a chapter for them as if they can't read it themselves? No, it's discussing the chapter, theorizing together. What's your problem? Finally, the confirmation. If we trust the anime source and what I always told everyone before, the left side is the second world. 800 years ago. The right side is the first world. Sun God Nika and Joyboy are two different things. Wait, what? The third world is the present. And he said, Soul said, things yet to come. So like the book of Revelation. I'm not saying it is the book of Revelation. I'm saying it to them it might be like what the book of Revelation is to some people. This is important. The royal line must remain pure of blood. Maybe this is partly why. Traits are more likely to be inherited if the bloodline remains pure. But then why are celestial dragons going around? No, why are holy knights going around sleeping with people from the lower world in the first place? Sorry, let me rephrase that. Why are they going around raping women from the lower world in the first place? But I do think that Loki's eyes are not a curse, not a disease. It has to be some kind of inherited. But now I don't know if we'll ever really find out, because wasn't his eyes like, what happened to his eyes? Did he close them because they're scared, or did his mom scratch them out or something? This is supposed to be the final villain of One Piece. So people are clearly really angry that Luffy punched Emu. The problem is not power scaling, it's how Oda chose to draw him in the most humiliating way. Why are people so obsessed with major villains looking cool all the time? Yesterday we were talking about it with Frieza, and now it's Emu. Do you want to suck his dick? What is going on? Why they can't? These are not real gods. They pretending to be gods. Why they can't look stupid? Why they can't trip? They still fart. They still pee and poo, and they're humans. Not humans in the sense of we are, but they're not gods. They can keep saying that they're gods, but they're not. Why is them messing up a problem? Why is it a reason to be mad at Oda? They still wore diapers at some point, and they'll probably end up in diapers again. The problem is not power scaling, it's how Oda chose to draw him in the most humiliating way. At the exact moment in the story when the character was supposed to show off his imposing presence. In fact, the difference in the art is something. It's impressive how there's no fandom more premature than One Piece's. A bunch of people saying that Emu isn't the final villain because of this, or that Luffy is already stronger, or that Emu has lost his aura. For the love of God. And they did the same thing with Kaido in the weekly chapters too. Kaido fans trying to force an agenda out of this is pathetic too. Both Loki and Emu have been nerfed from the start. In today's chapter, Loki was stabbed by three Kerberos sword dog heads with spinning spike collars. He was stabbed in his abdomen by Hachi. Narratively, a villain has to be menacing for the hero to stand against them. But from that, to never allow them to look silly in a manga like One Piece, there's a stretch big enough to park a Star Destroyer ship in it. Sorry, I got distracted by something again. Brook really is dead. He never came back to life. His fruit doesn't grant a second life. His fruit allows his soul to leave the realm of the dead, the place where it's stated that Satan is king. In that case, he possessed his own dead body. Well, his own dead bones instead of coming back to life in it. You know what we call in One Piece a soul that lives in a dead body? A zombie. Brook is a zombie, just like Moria zombies this whole time. And that's why Oda calls the Gunko Shuri now in Elbaf zombie. What does that mean? Oda calls the Gunko Shuri now in Elbaf zombie. Tiago says a villain can't look silly. Have they not seen Skypia and Eneru's panicked face? Oh, wait. Yeah, these are probably the same people that skipped Skypia. Okay, anyway. I can't find that person who usually does this interesting random theories. But I think I've rambled on for way too long now. Um I have to be really careful next week because every time I open up Twitter, there's like art, and there was just a post about a serial killer cat that killed 27 mice in one night, and he lined them all up like little trophies. I get distracted by like the smallest things. have to be more careful next week. But anyway, thank you, Tiago and Rohit, for your very thought-provoking discussion on the Discord. Thank you to everyone who listened to my rambles, whether live or later. Odinoko for your input, your funny quips on the side. I thought it was a very good chapter. Quite a few surprises. But yeah, I think that people shouldn't people should trust Oda a little bit more. But I just think that a lot of these people reading are not reading because they genuinely enjoy the story and are curious about the characters and stuff. I think that they are looking for reasons to, you know, what are those people called that watches movies just to complain about them, you know, stuff like that. But anyway, for those who are sincerely interested in the story and characters, have faith in Oda. That's all I will say. Bye.